and they talked. And MJ was like, "Yeah, come on out and we got the best pickup games and play." And Bill Bellamy was like, "I went over there." So he's like, I'm in awe. He's like, "There's only two non-basketball players there." He was like, "Me and Damon Wayans." He said everybody else was either professional, college, or playing. I think they had the World Championship, Olympic teams was out there. And
Yeah,
he said that, I don't know if you remember former UCLA guard Tyus Edney
yeah,
when they won the national championship. He said Tyus Edney came down and like put a move on Mike where he did a crossover, did a head fake, but didn't keep the drill and drew Mike up off the floor and then scored. And everybody was like, "Oh, he said Mike took the ball and scored the very next like 14, 15 points to win the game." And it was just like, man, even in pickup and work, that dude, like, just
yeah,
competitiveness and the will not to lose is just even prevalent. Like, it's 24/7. So
yeah.
it's Mike. He puts his all into the game that gave him everything that you see. And that's why you see the emotion. But I'll pass it back. I know I was
Yeah,
long winded.
but no, that's the funny thing is you look at that and you go, how does anybody ask a question about who would you rather play with? Because and that's the question that made me realize like there's no winner in this between LeBron and Mike because the it's obvious that they both have certain pros and cons that ultimately balance out. And even when you look at them statistically and you look at Mike averaged 30 points, LeBron averages 27. How does that balance out? LeBron averages about 2 to 3 more assists a game. They end up balancing themselves out. The rebounds aren't that far off, although LeBron is a much better rebounder. They end up balancing themselves out. So what you have to ask yourself then is, well, what situation would I rather be in? And no matter what answer you give, you're not wrong because quite honestly, LeBron is great at being able to make the team surrounding him better because of his because of his unselfishness and because of Mike's motivation that gives him an uncanny ability to make the team around him better. It just looks different. And they're two different players with two completely different attitudes. And it's just a matter of which one do you think. Now, of course, you know where I stand on this. I think LeBron James, from a skill perspective, is better. And he can make the talent around him better more than Mike can. But even that edges slightly. It's not a big deal. But we're gonna go to break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk. I gotta call BS on Mike because there was
Uh-oh.
some look. He laughed at Gary Payton, and he
Yeah.
should not have. And
I knew that was coming.
we're gonna talk about why when we come back from the break. Names are not important. Right back.
A lot of people back down the bike. I didn't. I made it a point. I said, just tire him out. Tire the out of him. You just got to tire him out. And I kept hitting him and banging him and hitting him and banging him. It took a toll on Mike. It took a toll. And then I feel myself resting him a little bit. And then the series changed. And I wish I could have did it earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been different, but it was a difference and beating him down a little bit.
The glove. I had no problem with the glove. I had no problem with Gary Payton. I had a lot of other things on my mind.
That was Michael Jordan being very disrespectful to Gary Payton, in quote saying, "I had no problems with the glove. I had a lot of other things on my mind." And free, I am calling BS on this one. And I don't know why no one else has done this. Maybe this is you'll hear it first moment. But I'm calling BS. First off,
Yeah.
this series went 6 games. Father's Day was game 6. You didn't seem to have much on your mind when Gary Payton wasn't guarding you the first 3 games. It just happened to be the last 3 where you had something on your mind. And I think what was on your mind is named Gary Payton. Because when we look at the stats, Free, we're going to go back to this one.
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls won the first game by 17, second game by 4, third game by 22. I'm sorry, not by 22. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, by 22. See, I didn't talk to the count. Game 4, they lost that game by 21. Game 5, they lost by 11. Game 6, they won by 8, but the leading scorer in Game 6 was Detlef Schrempf. Now, when you look at what Mike scored, he had 22 in Game 6, 26 in Game 5, 23 in Game 4. Those were the games where he was being guarded by Gary Payton. Here are the games where he was not being guarded by Gary Payton. He had 29 in Game 2. He had 36 in Game 3. Primary defender, not Gary Payton. And then he also had, let's go one more. Got to find this one. He had 28 in Game 1. Primary defender, not Gary Payton. So when you look at 28, 29, 36, that's games 1, 2, and 3. Game 4, 20. What was game 4 again? I forgot that fast.
22, wasn't it?
Game 4, he had 23. Game 5, he had 22. No, he had 26. In Game 6, he had 22. All while being guarded by Gary Payton.
Mm-hmm.
So Free. Am I on an island and calling BS? We got this on tape.
Not even if your name was Gilligan, you wouldn't be on an island right now. We all know, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna throw this shot at the dog.
Hold on, Free. I just
of TV and drama. The competitive Mike still competitive to this day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we know competitive Mike. So elements of TV and heightened drama. It might have been a little push to be like, nah, that there when Gary Payton, the evidence is pure.
Yeah.
They won two straight games.
And Mike wasn't the leading scorer.
Game.
He wasn't the leading scorer in any of those games.
To seal it. I mean, it was that last round. And I think it's a little mixture of Mike's competitive edge, like, nah, man. So at that point, but I know in the back of Mike's mind, any true athlete knows, like, yeah, he gave me a tough time.
Yeah, but see that's what I'm saying. Like, immediately after the game, maybe Mike should have been like, nah, I didn't have any problems with the glove. But when you've had 20 years pass and you've seen and we have tape on those last 3 games, it's probably time to be like, you know what? He gave me a little bit of a run. He didn't win, but he gave me a little bit of a run for my money, because we hadn't seen anybody D Mike up like Gary did. Like Gary didn't care. I watched that series. Gary didn't care who he was, and he played defense and talked to him like he didn't care who he was those last 3 games. And that's what made that series interesting. And honestly, that's really where Gary Payton, the glove, like it fit. And there's no pun intended there. Like the name, the glove fit Gary Payton in that moment because he D'd Mike up something serious. And it was like, okay, nah, if he can do that to Mike, he is the glove. Like that, like he is something else. And he had a point. Like, let me tire him out a little bit and make him work on both ends. And a lot of people were so intimidated with him. I think that, for one, Phil Jackson did a great job of not having to make Mike work too hard on both ends, so he could have something left fourth quarter. And that's really why he was able to get off a lot. His usage rate was high, but Phil understood how to use him and when to use him, and he got him rest at key periods in the game. They did a good job with that. But when he was in, they used him a lot, and that was good. And, the triangle, how he made Mike fit in with that system. But overall, he's got to give more respect to Gary Payton than that, because numbers don't lie, and neither does the eye in the sky the last time I checked. And there's a whole 2 games where it was like, so it wasn't on your mind games 1 through 3, but it was on your mind games 4 through 6. Come on, Mike. Just get that one up. Like we understand you still won. So we're not taking the win from you, but let's not take this from Gary Payton either in the meantime, because, dog, you got D'd up pretty hard, man. And that was while he was being the primary defender. And Gary Payton even mentioned he didn't know if it was going to change the outcome, but it did change the course of the series, and they did win 2 back-to-back, as you mentioned, while Gary Payton was the primary defender on Michael Jordan. So,
yeah,
I'm sorry there, folks. I don't know what people expect to get out of this, other than all we're saying is Gary Payton could play some defense. And the best defense I've ever seen on Michael Jordan was Gary Payton. So there you go. I'm not going any further than that. So,
yeah.
Tell him, Forrest.
And that's all I have to say about that.
But I have to admit, though, Free, I am enjoying the series. Again, there's a lot of memes on Facebook with people going, see, LeBron ain't, and it's like, no, all you doing realistically, what, and tell me how you feel about this, because to me, for the Jordan supporters, for the LeBron supporters, what this series does is it furthers their argument. Do you agree? Because again, what it not only uncovers his greatness, but it uncovers the supporting cast that he had and the coaching staff that he had, and it further cements that it was the continuity of the Bulls being the Bulls that helped them across. That's not the whole story. I've never proclaimed that myself, but would you agree or disagree that this series that we're watching now is furthering the point of what most sane LeBron James supporters have stated, which is he had an awful lot of help, and he had Phil Jackson, and people tend to forget that Phil Jackson has 11 championships. We really need to start giving that man a lot more credit than what we're getting. Would you agree that this helps further the argument?
Well, yeah, I will concede that, simply because, LeBron has done it with what will be 3 franchises. Well, I'm not even going to throw the Lakers in it. Let me go back. He's done it with 3 different teams. The first set of Cleveland, Miami, the second